Hello YouTube, welcome to RVDaydream. Today we're looking at one of the bigger power stations that we've done over the last couple of years. Something that we go back and forth on as far as size. We've done some really small ones and now we're getting to a bigger one. I want to express the gratitude that I have for VDL for shipping this to us to take a look at it. And this is their VDL 2400. And as you can guess by the name, they're talking 2400 watt.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream.
This arrived to me in about 3 days' time. This is going to be available on Amazon, which I'll include a link in the description. At the time of filming, I think they have already a $100 coupon on this. I may have a further discount, I'm not sure. But again, the link will be in the description, so check it out there. It comes in an overbox, as you can see here. And then inside, it's more of a retail packaging. Okay, a bit out of breath. Don't think that this box size is going to be something that is not heavy. You know, you think maybe it's more packaging than anything else. It's not. It's a lot of product in here. 50 pounds. If you have a problem moving around 50 pounds, or if your RV is something that might be affected by extra weight that you're adding to it as far as where you load it, you know, that's something to be considered whenever you get into something this big. Just reading off here briefly. Solar, obviously, you can charge it with solar. That's the whole idea of going off grid. If not, once you're plugged in, you need to recharge it at that point. There is a digital screen that, you know, for a monitor. It's just more a monitor than anything else. They're saying that it is a 4.9-inch screen. That's a diagonal. Of course, it's pure sine. All these are pure sine. It does have a low battery reminder. Again, this is information that I'm getting off the outside of the box. Cooling fans, and then a built-in BMS, which is really nice. That means you just plug it in and let it go. Now, the other thing that you can do with this, if you want to, you can actually use this as a uninterrupted power supply. So UPS for your home, for your computer. I'm thinking that's might be what our situation is here, that we're going to utilize that at the house until maybe, you know, we're on the road. We may need this in addition to whatever else we may have on our RV. This is more geared for people though that are maybe going out with an RV that's not equipped with a lot of battery, maybe not a lot of solar, or maybe it is and you're just a heavy user. This is nice to have. And again, you could actually use this as a UPS in your RV. Now, I had a computer set up in my RV along with our internet, our unlimited internet that was throughout the country. Needed power. It needed power to be supplied. So ideally, I could plug those things into this and then plug this into one of the RV outlets that is being fed from shore power. And when we unhook, I don't lose any computer activity, or I don't lose the internet as we travel. So there's a couple of pluses to having something this big. The ability to charge this, like I said, solar, but you can actually charge it in two different ways. If you have an external source of power, again, if you're plugged into the house, and you do solar, that will allow you to get up to 1100 watts AC, which 500 watts of that can be solar. Again, this has a BMS, so if you have a little bit bigger solar than that, it will, you know, dictate what it actually takes in. So you don't have to be concerned with, well, wait a minute, I got 3,000 watts worth of solar. That's okay, this is only going to use 500 watts of that regardless. If you do that, it only takes a couple of hours to charge this thing up, which, you know, you should with that much wattage going in. It does have, like I say, the BMS, which gives you enough control over the charging of the unit that you can get over 4,000 cycles on this, meaning completely discharged or discharged to the level that the BMS allows, and then fully recharged again to what the BMS allows. 4,000 times, that's a lot. That's a lot of cycling, which they're telling us that that's 10 years. That's about 10 years from the information that I'm getting here, which is a lot. Now, inside here, we're gonna have one AC charge cable, one car charge cable, which, you know, it looks like your old cigarette lighter power port deal, one solar charge cable, and then the manual. And then it has a 5-year warranty, which, you know, a lot of these components are easy to put together and easy to brag about and sell for the marketplace, but 5 years warranty, that's really nice. That's peace of mind. I honestly think after 5 years, you shouldn't have an issue at that point. It just, you know, those are the kind of things that you would see within the first year at the latest of using it all the time. Something that's actually, you know, directly related to the manufacturer and the failure that the manufacturer could have caused usually happens right away. But they are giving you 5 years in case something else crops up further down the road. So now that it's out of the box, I'm going to tell you that the feel of the unit is very solid. This is like a little crate. You know, it's got a couple of really nice, feels like extruded aluminum handles that are up top to help out with moving it around. I definitely need those. There's some kind of protective plastic on it, and it's pretty heavy. I'm not going to mess with that. Again, whenever you pull it out of the box, you're going to be looking for all these parts. Well, the manual sits right on top. That's the one thing that you won't see necessarily. Like I said, it was just sitting on the top. Already getting a little bit dusty. I'm sure there's a lot of good information in there. You need to go through these manuals, because if not, you're not going to use all the features that it has you know, available. And I've run into that myself personally. Looking at the front here, this is where all the good stuff is. But again, I told you that it came with a few cables, and you're probably wondering, where are the cables? You may be looking through the box. This is one of the only ones that I've seen that has its own self-storage unit up on top. And I think that's great. So here's the power cord, and here's all those other cables that I was talking about. So you can charge it using your vehicle's power, which obviously would take pretty long. You can use it, you know, these cables to charge via solar, you know, if you have solar panels, or you can plug into your house there. I just like the idea that they know that this stuff is not easy to keep track of, and they put it in the unit, which is really, really cool. So before we get into the display and all of the features that offers, let's just go ahead and go around the unit real quick. Of course, starting with the ports that are on the front. If you don't know, most of these units are all pretty much the same. If you want to use the DC features that are here, meaning if you want to plug in to these DC ports, you can do so and get that power that's in the unit out of these ports by turning on the DC function. If you don't want the DC function, you can turn on the USB function. And as you imagine, there's USB ports here. Now, some of them are 20 watts USB-Cs. Some of them are the old USB 4. They're just a regular 5 volt, which is 2.4 amp. These are a little finicky. There we go. Yeah, still a little finicky. I like them though, because they keep all the dust out of the components. That's a good idea. And then you have 100 watt and another 20 watt here of USB-C. So a lot of good charging capabilities coming out of those ports. And again, that's with this. Now, does that mean you can't use it? You know, you can use them together. You can power DC, and you can plug this in to run something that's powered from a you know, a power port, plug-in cigarette lighter type deal. And then you can also plug in and charge USB devices too. There's a light on here. I don't know much about the light. You probably have to have the power on for the light to work. We'll come back around to that in a second here. I want to show you then the sides. And there are some rubber feet on here, so it keeps it from moving around. And you can see here it says AC output. That AC output, yeah, you've got 6 plugs, 6 3-prong plugs in there. Of course, the the three prong, it's not really grounded, but it gives you for support, it gives you that other. And then again, they have a separate button for AC that you would use. Now, does that mean you can only use the, again, no. You can turn on all of these and have something plugged into all of them. You could have this thing look like Phyllis Diller. I don't know if you guys remember who she was, but yeah, it could look like it's got so many cords coming out of it, it looks like Phyllis Diller's hair. All right, so now on the back side, there's just some information on there. It's not, you know, it's just features, tells you what it's got. Nothing major going on there. And then on this side here, this is your inputs. Now, there is an overload button. You see a couple, I don't know if it comes out on the camera, but there's a couple of recesses here, cutouts for fans, for the fans to cool. And then this is your solar in or your power port in using that type of a plug, again, with the cables that are provided, and then your normal plug in the wall outlet. So now that we've gone over those, let's go ahead and go back to the front here and see if we can get this to power on. I'm assuming I hold this. Yep, sure do. Looks like I've only got 25% in here, which that's fine. Yeah, and then the light works, obviously. Oh, some kind of SOS thing or something there. I could see where the light would be nice to be able to navigate plugging stuff in. But yeah, whenever I turned it on, the fans kicked on just briefly. And again, you have all this really, it's a big display. It's very easy to read, especially inside the garage here. I know there's a reflection due to the light coming from outside, but trust me, this is very, very easy to read. And it's giving you information of what the input would be if you had it plugged in, and what the output would be if you have something actually plugged into it using that wattage. Let me share some personal information on this as far as what we've experienced in the past with other units. And this one far exceeds it just right out of the box on one aspect. Of course, the storage, like I said, for those cables, very nice, because it seemed like we were always trying to look for the cables, or I had them strapped to the handles or something so they didn't get lost. But the most important thing here by far is that we have had units that have only been 1,500 watts that have been far larger than this. I mean, considerably larger. So the fact that they've got this consolidated into this little brick, which I'll put the dimensions in here up above or across the bottom of the screen of what this thing actually, the size is. I like it. I say that this is something that I could easily have tucked in my RV, and the fact that it's 2,400 watts, awesome. So I think the one thing I want to do is plug in the power cord. I want to see what that looks like on the screen there. All right, so I just plugged it into the workbench over there, and we're going to plug it into the side and the power side, which is off camera here, but I'm getting ready to plug it in right now. You can hear the click, the beep. Yeah, and then there's an indication here. It says supercharge. And it tells how many hours it's going to take to complete the charge based on the current input, which the input is 530 watts, 604 watts, 683 watts, 762 watts, 800. So what it's doing here is it's basically, the BMS is kind of getting a feel for how many watts it can input into the unit from its current power source. And that comes in handy if you have a generator. And what I'm talking about is a gas generator. You know, sometimes a smaller gas generator can't put out that kind of wattage. So it's nice that this thing will kind of feel out what the generator can do or what your power source can do. In this case, it looks like it stopped at 1,100 watts on the input. And it says that we have 98 minutes until it's fully charged. Beautiful. I really like that. This is very simple, very easy to read, very easy to understand. Let's see what we do if we plug in some kind of a drain on this thing. In the side port here, this is the AC outlet. This is the regular household, one of those plugs. I'm gonna grab one of my chargers for, let's say, the electric lawnmower, and I'm gonna hook up one of those batteries and see what it takes out of this machine doing that. Okay, so this should be kind of fun because I have this supercharger here from Ego, and this is a 10 amp hour battery. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the charger. Right now, though, I don't think that it's got its power because I don't have, this turned on the side. So let's go ahead and push the button to turn on the AC power. And this thing's going to be a draw. This should be interesting to see here. You can hear the fans kicking on. It's charging the battery. The input has now gone up. Again, the BMS inside the unit has recognized that it's needing more wattage so it can power out one of its outlets. So it has now bumped up the wattage to, well, it's continuing to go up. It's at 1200 and climbing. The output is well over 120 watts right now. And it's still, again, charging also from the outlet that it's plugged into in the wall. So basically this is adjusting accordingly. We're already up to 1250 watts. Again, trying to take care of this. And the fan that you hear is not on this unit. This unit has not gotten to the temperature that it needs to do anything as far as fans. That's the fan on this unit here, charging this battery. But as far as what you can charge, what you can, how many things you can run, that's what everybody wants to know. What can I run and for how long? Well, that's going to vary based on a lot of stuff. Temperature, what you have as far as, for example, if I would have told you, hey, I can hook up my lawnmower battery to this and run it, and charge it, you guys may have a different unit. You may not have a 10 amp hour battery. You might have, something much smaller. And even with that, even if you said, yeah, I have a 10 amp battery also, maybe you don't have this charger. I mean, I have 2 other chargers over there that would charge this, that wouldn't pull the same amount of wattage out of the unit. So it's kind of hard to say what yours is going to run. But generally, what they say is that you can run a CPAP machine with this for 34 hours. That's pretty good. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you convert your CPAP over to run off of DC voltage instead of AC voltage, you can even get longer. But 34 hours, that's a long time. That's constant use. That's constant use. You can run a refrigerator for 14 hours, a microwave for 1.5 hours, or a TV for 15 hours. Again, depending on the TV, how big it is, plasma versus LED. I mean, there's big difference between those two, and how big overall the size is too. I mean, you're talking a 20-inch TV or you're talking a 72-inch TV. Big difference there. As far as power for the outdoor, meaning if you're out and you're trying to charge your phone, you can charge your phone 175 times. You can charge a laptop 32 times, which again depends on the laptop and the battery. Cameras 118. Your drone, a lot of you guys use drones. You're out there, you want to make sure that you keep them topped off. You're doing multiple runs and your batteries are being depleted regularly. You can do 48 charges for drones. And again, depends on the drone, but nonetheless, 48. A blender, 3.8 hours, a lot of margaritas there. A mini fridge, 33 hours. Now, if you've got power tools that you're trying to run, a circular saw, you're only going to get just under an hour running a circular saw straight. An air conditioner, 1 hour. Depends on the air conditioner also, obviously. Electric hammer, 1.3 hours. Electric drill, 1.3 hours. Some sort of a chainsaw, electric chainsaw, you're talking less than an hour. And a string trimmer, one that actually plugs in, not battery powered, you're looking at about 2 hours there. So it all going to depend. Your mileage will vary, as they say. But the nice thing is about this one is I've never had such a big power unit that had such simplicity as far as the controls. I hate the ones that you have to push the button to cycle through to read the different things that it does. This one's nice and easy and it's right there. Now, obviously, if I plug something into one of these ports, there would be something else that would then come up. And in this case, you can see that it's telling us that it's outputting and it's showing that it's AC by this signal here. It's showing that it's plugged in by this little symbol here. Again, this is going to be in the manual. But if I plugged in, you know, a phone charger and plugged in a phone, there would be another icon that popped up. And at that point, it would give you a different output. Now, as far as I know, you might be able to cycle through those different ones and look to see what each one's doing, or maybe not. Maybe it's just a total of the output going out, which I'm fine with that. I just want to know what's going out. I don't need to see necessarily what's drawing it individually, but if you did need to see what it was individually, it'd be simple. I know right now this is drawing 650 watts, basically. If I turn it off, it's not going to draw 650 watts anymore. And if I plugged in my phone, it would then bring up another icon and give me another output level. And you could add those up and you should get the total of when all of them are connected. So it already charged the battery. The battery wasn't that dead. I was actually using this big lawnmower battery on a leaf blower. But again, links are down below for this, guys. I know that we go through a lot of these power stations, and it never fails that when I do a big power station like this, somebody says, oh, that's too big. That, you know, I'm looking for something smaller. I don't need it for, you know, a long period of time. So we end up going a little bit smaller, getting to where it's more portable. And then when we're doing reviews on the smaller ones, it never fails that somebody says, yeah, but I need something that's bigger than that. You know, I mean, I just bounce back and forth on the reviews. So go through and check out all the reviews of the power stations we have. But as far as the big power stations, this is one of the nicest by far that I've had as far as simplicity and size. I mean, that tops everything just based on how small this is, and having 2,400 watts. That's a lot. That is a considerable amount. So again, links are down below. And as always, guys, we hope to see you out there.